Okay.
They can hear us, Joe.
Yeah, they can. It's Joe and Matt with a VMP live stream. I would normally have said Tuning Tuesday,
But
but
it's
this is
not
not Tuning
Tuning
Tuesday
Tuesday.
anymore.
It is live stream Wednesday.
Exactly.
It's VMP Live.
Something like that.
It's VMP Live. Well, that's what our talking point says. But see, the first thing, we already messed it up.
So we've got new camera angles for you guys. Matt and I each have our own cameras because we can't share one.
You know why?
Um,
Because you can't
There's
put
not
that
enough
much
room for both
I was
of
saying
us.
you
We're
can't
too
put that
fat.
much awesome in one camera angle.
I was gonna say we're too fat from the holidays.
There's that too. Yo, for real though? Yeah. I went a little too hard over the holidays.
Yeah, I think we all did.
Definitely getting soggier.
So now you're wet.
Yes.
Uh,
Flabbier. Maybe that was the better word.
Good save.
so new year, new everybody. Hopefully,
New year, new me.
it feels so weird to say the COVID stuff, and I feel like that's how everyone refers to it. It's like the COVID thing, with all this stuff going on, and COVID, and
I
bunch of bull crap.
actually saw a meme the other day. It says when you realize, it's like some dude crying,
Mhm.
and it was like when you realize that you're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of your 2-week quarantine. So,
Yeah.
like, because it was only supposed to be like, oh, we're gonna shut down for 2 weeks, and that's gonna be the end of it. Nah.
Well, thankfully we live in Florida, and we can be like mostly open.
Yes, correct.
There's some states that are Nazi Germany right now, and
Yes, for sure.
yeah, it's terrible. Or communist Russia, one of the two. But yeah, hopefully we get through this COVID stuff sooner rather than later. New year, new me. New year, new you.
Yep. Not really.
Um,
I'm the same person.
Looking forward to some of the new stuff that's coming out.
We do-
Hopefully this year, if COVID doesn't delay launches
I
of
know.
vehicles or production.
A
We're
lot of
looking
people
at-
don't realize, like, if you're not really behind the scenes of this market, you don't realize how bad it really hit.
Mhm.
Because it doesn't really affect, I mean, it does, but it doesn't, but it doesn't really affect your day-to-day life so
Mhm.
much, but the supply chain was just destroyed for a
Yeah.
while. I mean, it took us, like, something stupid like colder intakes.
Mhm.
Took months and months to get colder intakes,
Mhm.
which
That's
you
silly
can't
stuff.
put so we had like whole supercharger kits, no colder intakes.
Mhm. Yep.
It was just things like
Just
that.
silly stuff.
Yeah,
little
it was the
stuff.
pulleys. We waited. There was a dry spell there where we had like no pulleys for like 2 months. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's what happens when small business suppliers lose 2 or 3 employees because they're
Yeah.
out for COVID, and the whole production line gets screwed up.
Yeah, and then there's
Um,
materials. I mean, there was the big interruption of, because even a lot of stuff that, even if it's made in the United States, the materials are from overseas.
Mm-hmm.
So then there was that supply interruption where they just couldn't get
Anything.
couldn't get steel,
Mhm.
aluminum, stuff like that. So that played a factor into it as well.
But yeah, it's 2021.
Jeez.
Hopefully more progress is made, but we got a second year Predator GT500.
That's true.
The
No changes as far as I know.
the Mach 1,
I don't think they're doing
uh,
any changes to those Predator.
I don't know. And then we got Mach 1 Bronco F-150 and F-150 trimmer.
You know what? I'm sorry, Joe. I'm gonna let you down. I didn't know they were bringing back the Mach 1.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
And then the Mach E, which I'm more excited about than
I am
probably
excited
all
about the Mach E.
those, besides the Bronco.
Well, it's the direction we're going with it. Let's
Mhm.
face it.
Yeah.
You and I better
It's
get
happening
real good
slowly
at
but surely.
you and I better get real good at electric firmware, because that's where it's going.
Yeah, firmware upgrades.
I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I don't know that in 15 years that this job will exist as we know it.
Yeah. Maybe not as it does today, but I think in a certain capacity it will, just from the standpoint of all the vehicles that are currently on the road.
Right.
From what my estimations are not going to be off the road in 15 years.
No, they won't. But
Especially the stuff that we deal with, like
so
maybe
plot
some of the
twist, will we be
Camrys
the
and
new
stuff.
carburetor? Will we be like what we
Yeah,
look at
probably.
carburetor tuners
We'd be
now?
the guys still messing with gasoline engines, and everyone's messing with electric stuff.
Right. So
that's why we have to move.
Same
into
reason
electric.
that we're laughing at people that work on carburetors going, I can't believe you guys still screw on with carburetors when there's
Mhm.
fuel injection. We're going to be the fuel injection guys, and everyone's like, I can't believe you're not electric right now.
Yeah.
I got it. We are now the nitro RC guys. when everyone else has gone to lipo battery, and it's
Yeah.
superior in every way.
Yeah.
So when you go to the race
So
car,
scale it up to cars.
right? So when you go to the race car track and you have a nitro RC car, you're trying to tune it. Everyone there with their lipo, like their 12S battery, is looking at you like, "Wow, really?" And you're me around the track. That's us.
Making all the racket.
Making all that racket, and electric cars are just beating the pants off of us. That's what's gonna happen. Mark my words.
We'll see, I guess. But we got Bronco.
That is a Bronco. Yes.
I'm down with Bronco. I'm not down with Baby Bronco or Baby Bronco's cousin.
No.
The new F-150
I still haven't
looks
seen one in
sweet.
person though.
Yeah.
Paul saw one at the auto show, didn't he?
Yeah, he saw one at the auto show. You couldn't go in it or anything because it was all 3D printed interior parts, but it was there.
Well, he couldn't go in it because he's 12 feet tall.
Well,
so-
probably part of that too. But I think he said he sat in an F-150 and he really liked the new seating
Okay.
stuff that they have. I don't really have any firsthand experience with any of those other cars that are coming out.
I've just been paying. Unfortunately, I haven't been paying a whole lot of attention to what's coming out. My eyeball's been more on Dodge naturally. They got the TRX coming out,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm intrigued because it's more or less a Ram with 700 and some horsepower.
Same crap you've been doing for
I know.
4 or 5 years now.
It's
so
not
what
even.
does it matter
They
to
didn't even
you?
change the computer.
Yeah,
It's
it's the same.
Dodge. It's Dodge's same plan. Like they have the same computer, the same wire harness, and the same engine, and it goes in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow they've continued to get away with it.
And
They're just
then-
running out of stuff to shove it in. You know what I mean? Like they've got it in the Durango now.
Mhm.
They've got it in the Trackhawk. It's going in the Ram for the
Yeah.
for the TRX.
Mhm.
It's in 4 different cars. Like
They got it figured out.
I said this a long time ago. I wish to God Ford had done that. Can you imagine if they had taken like
The Predator engine.
Yeah, I would say the Predator engine, or even back in the day,
Just a Coyote.
they took like the 13 to 14 GT500 engine and just
Mhm.
put it in everything. Just a factory boosted engine, or which would now be the Predator. Imagine if
Mm-hmm.
we had Predator powered Lincolns, town cars, like if brought back
I'd just
the
be
Marauder.
happy if they had Coyote powered any of those.
Yeah,
Just put a Coyote in it, like
Right.
the Falcons. But yeah, we've also, if you've been paying attention to the VMP Performance Facebook page, you've probably, or Justin's personal page, you've probably seen that we had a few different versions of Predator engine superchargers on there. We're currently doing testing and analysis and all that stuff.
yeah, you are doing most of it.
Yep, blower speed and inlet pressure and pre-intercooler discharge pressure and post-intercooler discharge pressure and boost on the factory sensors and inlet pressure on the factory sensors and comparing all that and doing power and pulleys and all of it. All of it.
For all those people that think we just make something and kick it out the door,
Yep.
the dyno
Yep.
begs to differ.
Yeah, the dyno's getting enough miles rung up on it to where
We're gonna have to change the bearings on that thing soon.
but yeah, we'll announce some of the results from that testing with the new Predator supercharger stuff that we're doing, and but just know that it's out there and it's making whining noises, and we do have videos of it. I don't know what we're doing with the videos of it, but maybe something here soon for you guys. As far as events go for this year,
Ooh,
tricky.
that's tricky because
We're still dealing, as we discussed
Yeah.
in the beginning, we're still dealing with the whole COVID situation.
the coronavirus.
Coronavirus.
Shit is real.
We don't know which events are or aren't going to happen, which ones are solidified yet, but there's 3 events that we have in mind. When they happen and whether or not they actually happen are kind of 2 of the 3 moving targets we have to deal with there. in
I know which
addition to are
one
we
that
going?
we all want to happen, and let's call it. Well, I can name 3: Mod Nationals,
Mhm.
SEMA, and PRI.
Different ones than the ones I'm referring to, but
I know.
also ones that we want to happen.
Those are what we want to happen. Let's
Yeah,
face it.
yeah.
Ponies and Smokies is always a good time.
There's talks of Ponies in the Smokies, Mustang Week, and I think one other, but we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening.
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know for sure yet, but just keep an eye on our social media platforms. We'll let you guys know as soon as anything's solidified. As far as personal highlights go for 2020, coolest thing you tuned in 2020?
I saw that, and Man, you guys can laugh, but I was just talking about this. The coolest thing, and the inner nerd in me is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
The coolest thing that I think I tuned was that stupid Ranger. That thing
Yeah.
was cool, man.
The
Like it
single
was a
turbo
5
5-liter
liter
Ranger.
single turbo 5 liter swapped Explorer PCM, just
Mm-hmm.
all old and archaic, but tastefully done
And done well.
and done well, and it tuned properly. It was a dream to tune. It was very easy. 1, 2, 3.
Mhm.
Nice outcome. That thing was fun, dude. That was a
Mhm.
cool little truck. It really was. That little fender exit turbo exhaust coming out of it and stuff. I had a good time with that one.
I'm trying to think of the coolest thing I tuned.
You tuned some cool stuff.
Uh,
That and that
Probably the
Corvette.
most interesting thing I've tuned was that was it a 70 or 71 Mach 1? I think it was
the
a
black one that I
71.
was like drooling underneath, like I was laying underneath
Yeah,
it
like
with a
it
bib.
wasn't it wasn't the body style I would have chosen in terms of Mustangs, but the execution on it by
incredible.
Galpin was great.
That was the cleanest underside of any car.
Logano's car.
Yeah,
Yes,
Joey Logano's
Joey
car.
Logano's
That was
car,
built by
yes.
Galpin. For, what show was that?
Oh
Was it,
god.
it wasn't Driven because that's a movie.
No.
I think it was called just Discovery's Drive.
Discovery's Drive or something.
It's on our YouTube channel if anybody wants
Yeah,
to check it
if you
out.
want to check it
Yeah,
out,
if
it's
you-
on the YouTube channel. But it was a black 70 or 71 Mach 1
Man,
that had
I
a
wanna say it was
coyote
a
swap
70.
with a blower and a illuminator and stuff.
I wanna say-
Kings, guys.
Car Kings, there we
Car
go.
Kings. I want
Yeah.
to say it was a 70.
Yeah, he
All
took
I know-
it. He took it to the track right down the street.
Yeah, the roundy
for
round.
the unveiling.
Yeah, and it's
Got to drive it.
72.
72. There we go.
72. Okay, I was wrong. I want to say it was
Yeah,
70.
like in case you guys didn't know, we're right across the street from a racetrack. Not like a straight line racetrack, like a
asphalt, roundy round,
Asphalt circle track.
NASCAR.
It's a roots track.
Yeah.
What NASCAR calls it is a roots track when people
So-
start out on asphalt.
Yes,
Yep.
where they go, they're making another left-hand turn.
yeah. So we get to hear it a couple days a week. Of, Woobla, woobla.
My whole life, dude.
You know
And
the definition of
then-
insanity?
and the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
What are you gonna do today? I'm gonna go drive in circles. What are you doing?
I want to drive in a straight line.
Right, we're gonna go
then-
drive in a straight line really fast.
And then the other question we have here is, what's the biggest tuning challenge you had?
The
in
biggest
2020?
tuning challenge. We were talking about this as well.
Break it down for him.
Probably that stupid Corvette, which is ironic because
The
it's
really
also
nice Corvette.
It's probably one of the coolest things I've tuned too.
Mm-hmm.
So
definitely
was
fought
that
you.
was that old Greenwood bodied, custom made Corvette,
Mm-hmm.
and that thing was like the bane of my existence. But I got it done.
Mm-hmm.
Did a YouTube video on
So
that
we
one
did a
as well.
YouTube video on that one as well. That was I have a 500 plus inch big block
Mm-hmm.
with Hillborn independent throttle bodies and one of the worst standalones made as far as archaic.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guy wanted the car to like run and drive like a bone stock car.
Mm-hmm.
And I pulled it off, but Jesus. That car went
a
from
pain.
speed density to alpha N, back to speed alpha density, back to alpha N,
Because you couldn't do a blend of the two. with
because
the
I couldn't
software.
do a blend of the two in the software, because God forbid you let you do that. So, and then because I was running, because the map sensor signal on the Hillborn stacks wasn't clean enough to do a map sensor, so I had to do alpha N, which for you non-tuning people means instead of using the map sensor, it uses strictly throttle position for fueling, kind of like a carburetor. The more throttle you give it, the more fuel it gives you, and then of course RPM.
Yep.
So I ended up having to final tune it in alpha N, and there was the transients were a nightmare on the ITBs, and we had to actually tune the ITBs, which people may
Get
not.
flow.
Yeah, because you've got 8 throttle bodies, so every one of those. Ask the bike guys; they know. Every one of those throttle bodies, you have to adjust the linkage on them so that each one flows the same amount of air. Otherwise, when you're at idle, some cylinders will get more air than other cylinders.
Well, that begs the question: do you set them up so they flow? Well, I guess at watt it doesn't matter.
Doesn't walk because they're
It's in
open.
its atmosphere.
Right, because
Yeah.
they're open. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It's
so
only
idle.
at idle. So you have to what they call synchronize them. So you have these little synchronizer tools, and it looks like a ball, and it sticks into the velocity stack, and it measures the amount of airflow going into it, and you just kind of move this ball around and adjust your linkages. And
So if you think about that ball as a map sensor, did the clocking of it versus the port change the airflow? Or could
I never
clock
really
it
paid any
anyway?
attention because I just put it on straight. I never
Okay.
really tried it, but
I'd be curious to see if it changed the airflow.
I don't know. All I know is that car, and then so I made, because he's a cool guy and he's had other stuff tuned by us before, and he lives, he's local. He also has that what I call the ostrich truck, which was like that 55 Chevy with a
Like a long bed,
yeah,
extended
like
cab.
55 Chevy long bed and with the ostrich leather interior and the world's most obnoxious big blower sticking on the hood.
Yeah.
All pro streeted out, love that thing. So
Yeah.
he's local. So you figure I went to his house 4 times because we had issues with there was like the ring gear broke one time. Then the phasing was out on the distributor, so we had to fix that. So I went to his house 4 times just to get it running. Then he brought it here. We had it on the dyno.
I don't understand why tuning costs so much money.
I don't understand why this tuning is so much money.
And not to say he said that, but we get that from other people where they're like,
Yes.
we give them a price on a tune and they're like, whoa, that's a lot. Isn't it only $100 for credits? Yeah.
Do you realize how
If
much
you
this
tune it
takes?
yourself.
Right.
But yeah,
So that was the challenge. That was definitely a challenge, a rewarding challenge because you know me, I like stuff that's hard. I like stuff that's different. And so I was like, hell yeah, I want to tune that thing. And then of course halfway through it, you're like, why did I agree to this? And then towards the end, you're like, yeah.
I should not have agreed to tune this old standalone that doesn't have any functionality.
Yeah. We got it done.
For me, it was emissions.
I was wondering if you were gonna pick that because
Emissions.
I know that you had several nights where you were here, like I was leaving at 7 o'clock and you're still in the parking lot in Jason's truck with your head beating against the steering wheel,
Yep.
going, why?
Why you don't cooperate? Yeah, but
That was.
that's,
I think those were the highlights of our. I think that was our
tuning year?
personal tuning year. Yeah.
okay. So we got. Let's hop over here. We'll start answering questions now.
We did have some questions.
We did.
Hello,
And
questions.
then-
What oil
No, I
pump
don't need
gears do I
snipping
need to
tool.
run?
I hope not.
Let
Please
me know,
don't
Joe.
ask us
This is
that.
the oil pump gear goat. This is the goat. If someone asks an oil pump gear question, they're getting a goat.
You know the
Alright.
PG? You know me.
So let's see. Is this actually loaded? Okay, it is loaded. I'm just seeing if the comments are actually working.
Mm.
I can't tell.
Happy New Year, Kristen. What's up?
It'd
Yeah,
be
I
easier
can't
when I
see.
can scroll back and start pasting them if it's giving you any trouble.
It's only showing me 4 comments on Facebook, so I'll just shoot over to YouTube real quick. Chris,
There
M,
is
what's
some
up,
comments.
guys? What's up, Chris?
MGT 92 Cobra 1. Happy New Year.
So we have MGT 92 Cobra 1. Can you talk a little bit about 3100 blower on a stock GT500 bottom end? I'm torn between 2650 and 3100.
You do not need the
Yeah,
3100.
you shouldn't be torn between the two because
Yeah.
3100 is not a fit for you.
We've talked about it a little bit before, and broken down into the simplest terms.
Mm-hmm.
You should only consider the 3100 if the 2650 is
If
not
you're-
enough.
If you're running a 2650 and it's maxed out,
Right. Which basically means over 1,000, 1,100,
I'd say over 1100.
depending on the engine, of course.
Yeah, it depends on the compressor.
Basically,
or the,
if
not
you
the
if you
compressor.
are not trying to make 4 digits plus,
Mhm.
pretend the 3100 doesn't exist.
Yeah, and I'm
Please-
not saying we run into the guys that are like, oh, well, I want headroom to grow in the future. No, if you are not currently making 1100 wheel,
Right.
don't bother buying a 3100.
Right.
If
It's arguably worse because you have to slow the blower down so much to put it on a stock engine that it becomes very inefficient.
yeah,
And
you
it becomes
have to.
lethargic and it doesn't work that good.
Yeah, you need to keep the 3100 spun to keep
Yes.
it happy, and in order to spin it and keep your engine happy, everything needs to be built, and you already need to be at a very high level with the car. So to that end, 2650 fits 99% of
Yeah.
people's goals, regardless of if you think you're going to be at the 1,000 horsepower level in
Well,
3
let's
years.
face it, the 2.3 covers most of the stock motor
It
goals.
covers most of the people in a 2.3 liter,
Yeah.
especially the guys that are just talking about gasoline or pump fuel.
Right. That's
Like,
what I was saying is let's face it, the 2650 is only halfway acceptable on lower horsepower pump gas kind
Yeah,
of
the
stuff.
2300 hits pretty hard. The 2650 hits a bit softer down low, but it makes up for it up top.
Right.
And you, yeah, I mean, pump gas 2300s are fine. The 2650 does make more peak power on pump gas. Yeah.
I hear Brian over there laughing.
Oh
He
no.
means he saw something we haven't seen yet.
He sees the future.
No. I was actually living in the past. I heard a joke you guys made from a couple minutes ago.
Oh,
And we got Carl Condon. So why did you quit doing Tuning Tuesday? Haven't seen much of anything from VMP for a while. So I'll do the long and short of it, or just the short of it.
yeah. Why'd
You guys
quit,
keep
Joe?
asking the same damn questions. And not that that's an overly bad thing. It just got a little
I can't say that we
a lot
were
of little rerunny.
right. I'm gonna take this and run with it
Mm-hmm.
gently, like a soft run.
A soft little stroll.
Yeah, not because I don't want to insult anyone, because I personally love teaching people. Get that in mind, or keep that in mind. I
love them for the
teaching people.
learn.
I love teaching people stuff. As a matter of fact, I've said multiple times that I would have loved to have been a teacher for this industry. But it got to where we were kind of wasting our time because it was the same 4 questions, and it's not the people's fault, because we had new people every week, but for whatever reason, all the new people. It's kind of like on a Facebook page when the new people come in and they say, "What oil do I run?"
Same question when they come in.
Well, what kind of oil do I run? And will 35s fit on my non-lifted truck? And then they get beat with a hammer because it's kind of the same.
It's like there needs to be like a prerequisite reading material.
Right. We need an
before you jump
FAQ.
in.
We needed an FAQ. And
That no
then-
one reads anyways.
Right. So that's basically why we got done doing it. Is it kind of got where it's an hour of our day. Joe's tuning, I'm tuning. Joe's usually standing on his head and drinking a glass of water at the same time.
So
And it just kind of got where it was an hour of our life that was better suited making money, and because we weren't teaching anyone anything, we're just
making money.
we were just making money.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So now we're trying a different format. Basically, we're just picking the questions we want to answer.
Yeah, and kind of doing it
And-
more like a podcast where we can maybe put some more information out there rather than the same information over and over. So we can get into some deep intellectual discussions while we look into each other's eyes.
Very
And-
gingerly.
Yes, and that's where we're going with it. And then he's over winking.
Yeah, winky face over there.
Hey.
What we got, Joe?
So I'm just gonna read through questions real quick. Bear with me, guys.
Give me one. Give me a good one. Where you at, guys? Remember our like, remember the guy on Tuning Tuesday used to come in, the engineer?
Yeah.
Would hit us with like he was like a petroleum engineer or something like that. I love that guy. He used to come at us with some information. I don't know what happened to him. It makes me sad. Hopefully he still comes on here once in a while.
Let's see. All right. So hey guys, on the 1517 VMP fuel system kit, do I plug cap the fuel vacuum fitting on the regulator, or do I connect a vacuum to it? On the install video, it's left alone, no cap, no vacuum. So
Yes.
what does that port do on a regulator?
It puts pressure on the backside of the diaphragm
Yep. So
that fuel happens to be pushing on as well.
yeah.
So the fuel
On
is
the other
pushing up,
side,
and then the boost is
pressure's
pushing down.
So if you're below 15 psi boost, if we're tuning the car, we'll generally recommend that you don't do anything with that. If anything, there's some guys that make some depending on which size port your regulator is specifically, they make some 1/8" MPT brass filter assemblies.
Kind of call them mufflers, I think.
Yeah,
they
they're
use the same things on
little RC car things.
and I was gonna say boost control solenoids.
Yep.
They use them.
Basically,
however,
just to
most
keep the
people's
dirt out.
regulators are 16th NPT. Keep that in mind. So you might need a 16th NPT. I don't know what ours have. I don't remember.
I want to say it's 1/8" MPT,
Okay, then you're
but
fine.
I'm not positive.
Do not plug them.
Yeah, do
That's
not
important.
plug them. That's bad, especially if you're going to be changing elevation on a regular basis, because then
The problem is that diaphragm, that the air on the backside of that diaphragm is sealed, and that diaphragm is supposed to be moving with fuel pressure. So that runs into a problem. So don't ever plug it.
yeah, don't take a brass MPT plug and plug the
No,
hole.
don't do that. Or a rubber cap or anything like that.
Yep.
If you're making over 15 pounds of boost,
We recommend
then
that
you
you boost
boost
reference
reference
it. Yeah.
and that's only because you've got fuel pressure
Mm-hmm.
in the injector, and then you have boost pressure pushing against it. Which
And the whole reason we have the cutoff of 15 psi is if we set your base pressure at 55 and you're making 15 pounds of boost,
you now only have
you have
40
40
pounds.
psi across the injector. And for most injectors, that's not going to be necessarily a bad thing.
Correct.
But when you go over that 15 psi threshold, most injectors flow is rated at 40 psi to 43 psi to 39 psi.
Yeah.
Right in that, like, we'll call it 39 to 43.35 psi range. So most injectors are rated at that flow at that pressure. So when you go below that pressure, they're no longer flowing that much. You go above that pressure, they're flowing more.
Well, plus when you
So-
get down into the mid to low 30s, the spray pattern goes to shit and all kinds
Yeah.
of stuff. So
It's just better if you're above 40.
Right.
And we like keeping the guys that are below 15 pounds of boost non-boost reference, because that makes our life a lot easier with the 5-liter Coyote PCMs, because they don't have a rail pressure / pressure drop across injector sensor that references manifold pressure to offset all the fuel tables in the ECU. So when people hook up a vacuum boost reference, we have to go into the function, which isn't great for characterizing manifold pressure versus fuel
yeah,
pressure.
it's a pain.
It'd be nicer if it was a 3D table. We could actually map it out decent to where it works well, but it's a function, so it's fuel flow rate versus fuel pressure in the rails, and we obviously get the job done with it. It's just not
Yeah,
it's not ideal for the lower boost guys to have to go through that headache of dialing that in.
correct.
So yeah, don't cap it if you're under 15 pounds of boost. Just pick up one of those filters, or
You can leave it
put a
open.
hose on it
You
for
really
now.
can just leave the damn thing open.
Yeah,
It
you
doesn't
can.
matter.
yeah,
I mean, it's such a small port. It's not like it's gonna get filled with dirt and sand, and even if it does, who cares? It's just
Yeah.
a rubber diaphragm.
or it's probably silicone, to be honest.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, to that
get the
same end-
idea.
Yeah, exactly.
The point is don't worry about it. Don't panic.
All right, so which other ones do we want to do here?
We did the fuel system. 19 RS3. Do you offer tuning for the 19 Roush Stage 3? Yes, we do. Absolutely. We do them all the time, at least one a week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stuck on 93 pump or 100 octane with boosting. We would want to tune for both. Would it be a nice improvement over the Roush Cal? So yes.
Yeah, especially if you're talking about a phase 1 cal, because they now have like a phase 2 cal that's actually pretty damn aggressive for 93.
Yeah, you can still pick up some power over it.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, I don't want to over-promise, under-deliver, but generally speaking, you will pick up about a half a second from a tune
Mm-hmm.
on a Roush.
Yeah.
With our tune, nothing else, just the Roush tune versus our tune, you'll pick up about a half a second and a quarter mile.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, the boosting is a very good idea on that car because heat, as you may or may not know, heat is a tremendous problem.
I would also do a booster.
Yeah, I was going to say, you want to do a fuel pump booster.
Yep. Well, why? Let's do the why you want to do a fuel.
Why
pump
do we want to do
booster,
a fuel pump
Because
booster?
that's the inevitable question that he'll ask.
The
the
inevitable
forums in
heat
10
death of the
minutes.
universe.
Yeah.
So,
So it's direct injection,
yes,
which means it has 2 sources of fuel injection.
correct.
One in the port and one in the DI.
Yes.
So he has
Genius
a fuel.
idea if you really think about it.
It is. It is. He has a fuel pump assembly, what they call a lift pump, in the back.
Yep, just like a diesel.
Exactly. It's weird. High pressure injection.
It's
So
weird.
you have the lift pump that feeds the port injection that's used idle part throttle cruise, and that same lift pump feeds the direct injection pump.
Right.
The direct injection wants to see a minimum amount of pressure on the inlet side of the pump so that it can maintain a good outlet pressure.
Yes, you need to feed the high pressure pump adequately.
Exactly. So if you don't feed the direct injection pump adequately and the pressure drops on the inlet side, your duty cycle on your DI injectors is going to go up and
Yep.
up and up. Well, technically your port injection in this case is going to
Yes.
go up and up and up, and that's the problem.
Yeah, because it starts adding, the fuel is not going through the DI, so it starts adding more supplemental
It goes
fuel.
through it through the port injection,
port
which is a
injection.
problem because it needs the direct injection to get not octane resistance, to get knock resistance. It's a 12-to-1 motor. You're putting 8 to 10 pounds of boost in it. In the Roush's case,
With too
sometimes
much
12 to
heat.
13,
With too much heat.
which is very high. And you're without a fuel pump booster, your rail pressure tanks. And because of that, it starts blending out the DI because it's maxing out the DI and blending in more port injection.
Yep.
And when it blends in that port injection, they start knocking.
Correct.
So,
You will make more power with a booster.
yep.
And it's safer.
As long as we're talking about a circumstance where it was blending out of DI into port injection.
Right.
So like 3,500, your power is probably not going to change much with a booster. But if you're revving it to 75 to 7,700, you'll notice like I'm making really good power. And then you'll see the graph either slowly trend or very rapidly pull a bunch of power out. That's two things usually happen at the same time there: cap protection and falling out of DI.
Yes.
But yeah,
So put a booster on it.
93 in boostane is a good idea, not absolutely necessary.
It will make more power. It will make a lot more power on boostane because it helps. There's a heat issue, and it helps with the high RPM knock threshold by having some extra octane in there, and it will go much more faster.
Mo fasto, mo better. Let me hop back to the other sheet real quick and make sure the kids haven't added anything to it.
Facebook page refresh.
Okay. Let me see. I'll hop over there for a second if it works.
You see SC302 here.
Yeah, like Grant clearly saying hi. You got a handful of folks over there.
Yeah. I was looking at SC302. I've got a D1SC Mach 1. What injectors do you recommend for 13, 14 PSI? You wanted to know if 60s or 80s are any good? No. They used to be. It's not that they're not. It's not that they're bad.
Yeah, I
It's
wouldn't
just
say
that
they're
there's better-
bad.
There is better injectors. Do not use 80s, please. For the love of God, don't use 80s.
Well,
Just-
I'm not even going to say please. I'm just going to tell you that we will not tune it.
right.
Period.
But I'm being more polite, okay? I'm saying please do not use 80s.
We're not wasting our time.
60s, let's put it this way. The injector was made in like 2003.
And again, do they physically work? I have buddies that run in those injectors for 5 years.
Absolutely.
They physically work.
It's 20-year-old design.
But if we're talking like 0304 Cobra or 1314 GT500, it's not ideal.
Just throw some 56s in.
Yeah, get some fresh injectors in it. And the biggest problem with the 60s is a lot of people that are buying them from China.
Yeah,
And
that is a problem. Do
the
we want to
other
do
problem.
we want to tell them the life hack? We want to tell them about the new. You use the new injectors out of. Do we want to tell that life hack? I don't know. I don't know how to get it. You know what I'm getting at?
Are you talking about 2020?
Yes.
Well, it's-
Orange.
Yeah, I mean they can, because then they don't have to use height adapters. But there's
Right. It's a
some-
direct plug and play. That's why I said, like, do we want to just tell them the life hack, Joe?
Yeah, 2020 GT500 injectors are
Yes.
a good injector for.
That's a 2020
Cobra.
GT500 injector.
Well, specifically Cobra,
Yes.
because GT500 uses short injector and they need to use the older 56 anyways.
Correct.
But technically, it's a 56-pound injector at
Yep.
like a 40 psi pressure drop.
Same connector and everything.
Yep.
And they're really, really cheap.
Yep. Same
Right
connector
now.
as 0304 Cobra.
Yes, that's what I said.
You go
Just drop
into
in.
the you go
Same
into the
connector.
older GT stuff. It's a different connector.
Yeah,
you
but he's
still
got a
have
Mach
to change
1, so he'll be fine.
it. Yeah, he'll be good.
So
Yeah.
I do that. They're cheaper,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a much better injector
Mhm.
that goes to modern day emissions and spray pattern standards.
And the
And
spray
it's tunable.
the spray pattern should be very similar to what should be necessary for an 0304 Mach 1.
Correct.
So
Do
yeah,
it.
It's mo better.
Do that one.
In reference to Facebook, JD, I can only see 4 comments at a time on Facebook.
Oh, wow. Lovely.
Yeah.
All right, I'll start posting it.
Or
on
let me
Facebook and
see.
Docs. Watch
I'm
it.
trying to make it full screen to see if comments pop up on the right. And right now
Ooh,
they're
who we got
not.
here? Who is, how worried should I be if I'm seeing 20 to 30% positive long-term fuel trim? A lot?
I don't know. I've seen cars.
Long-term fuel trims? That's bad.
Hear me out. I know that it's not good, but I've seen cars learn a bad long-term correction in the wrong direction.
But he has only 2 to 6% short-term.
But he's saying that's at watt though. Or
Non-watt conditions.
hmm,
I would think you would have a vacuum leak.
yeah, it's
If it
very
was-
likely that it's a vacuum leak. As long as we're talking about like idle part throttle cruise, if you're
This is charismatic, by the way, charismatic. I forgot.
Yep, so 20-30% positive correction in long-term fuel trim. If we're talking 11 up being logged by SCT, that'd be adding fuel based on the airflow count.
Yeah, assuming the tune is not wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
I would absolutely, if it's adding that much fuel, I would absolutely be looking for a unmetered air entering the engine.
And 20-30% isn't going to be a massive leak. It's going
No,
to
you'll
be
be able to
like
find it though.
Yeah, it's going to be a smaller leak in the grand scheme of leaks, but it's not going to be huge.
Spray it with carb cleaner till you find it,
Yeah.
or smoke machine.
Yeah, smoke machines definitely. I don't know. I'd say it's more ideal because then you're not.
It is,
spraying
but
shit
smoke
everywhere,
machines will
but if
send
you
you
don't have
down rabbit
access to
holes.
it, yeah.
Smoke machines will send you down rabbit holes. Remember us in the SVT Focus?
Yep.
I had
Yeah.
the smoke coming out of the IMRC lever, and I'm like, I don't understand how to fix this. Then I find out that they all smoke there, and it's actually accounted for in the tune.
Yep.
I'm like, no,
Damn it. We got another one. David Horn. How much boost will Ode make with a 79mm pulley and a Gen 3 motor?
Yes.
Hmm.
79?
If it
That's a
doesn't
lot.
have cats and it's automatic and it's on E85 and
You have the proper fuel system.
you have the proper fuel system and fueling's right and you're at sea level and it's on a dyno jet, about I think it'd be 820 wheel, somewhere around there.
How much boost is that, Joe?
That
15?
yeah, that's around 15 pounds. Yeah,
I would say it's about 15 pounds.
yeah. It'll probably make 820 to 850 wheel if you have adequate supporting mods and adequate octane.
I haven't seen one oil pump gear question. I got the goat here and everything.
Yeah, it's good.
Just wait, he's got Facebook coming.
Yeah, you can ask Matt. It's not working on the right hand side when I try to.
He's lying.
Screwed
I
it
can
up.
see everything.
Did you guys
Screw it. We can only see 4 comments at a time when it's not set up to be full screen, and when I do click it to be full screen, which is half screen on how I have it split Facebook and YouTube, it just like blinks on the right side where it shows like suggested videos and then the host page, but it doesn't actually show anything there. It's weird.
We need a.
I'll do a print screen for you. There
We
you
need
go.
a teleprompter.
I'll print it out later.
We need a big teleprompter screen.
Yeah, it'd be
We're working
perfect.
on it, Facebook folks.
Ron Burgundy.
It's, you
Yes.
guys are on
What's
Oh,
he
it's
got?
on the dock now?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll hop over there real quick.
yeah, we'll cover you on Facebook there.
Yay.
Throw a wrench at Facebook here later.
All right.
Will there?
So,
So will there be a Mustang week this year? So far
we don't run Mustang Week, so we can't answer that. I hear that there's going to be one,
Yeah.
but I don't know if that's for sure. Dorian Johnson, the boys are back. I appreciate you, Dorian. Hope all is well with the new year. John Pavia, thanks for the help on my truck tune, Joe. So John, so everyone else is aware, John messaged me about having an issue changing tire size on his truck. He has a Per Racer with SCT, 11 to 14 truck. He changed tire size and he couldn't figure out why his speedo wasn't accurate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, send me your VIN. He sent me his VIN, and I'm like, he sent me a screenshot of what he had in the tune, and I'm like, well, part of your problem is because you don't have the right gear ratio plugged in if the gears are stuck.
Yeah.
So he hit that, and I guess that fixed his issue. Glad to hear that got you fixed up, John.
Looking forward to Odin 3100 on Joe's truck with a built motor.
No,
I don't
man.
think Joe's looking forward to the wallet.
I don't know. I got the even wifey's been pushing me to just do everything to the truck, because like
Everything is a weird term. I don't know if she
everything.
everything. Does she
Yeah.
Does she fully understand? You're gonna make her. You better make her
We-
sign a piece of paper.
She's aware that it costs money, and if she ever asks me how much something costs, I don't lie about that. I tell her how much it costs.
Because my version of everything might be
it's-
different than her version of everything.
I think if she knew how much it would all actually cost, she wouldn't say that.
Right.
But
As I said,
if she doesn't ask me, it's like going to be a don't ask, don't tell. We won't live in that
I'm
world.
telling you, to sign this piece of paper saying, "Can I get that in writing that you said do everything?" And then later on, you can be like,
Well, her thing is she enjoys the truck
I get it.
because it's like it's sneaky.
I get that.
In the grand, well, not these days in the world of 2018 F-150s running 8s. My truck's slow as dirt, but in the grand scheme of what you normally see out in the
Yeah.
wild on the road, it's pretty quick. I don't know what's going on with your stuff lately, Dorian. I haven't followed it lately. I hope you're working on getting your truck or new truck together. John Hartman,
Matt
Matt
nailed-
nailed it with the RC car analogy. Yeah, dude. That's how it is.
That's-
Everything's moving electric,
that's
has
the-
been for years, and it's
Yeah.
finally getting some momentum now.
Battery technology is what the brushless motor technology and the battery technology.
I'd say
is-
Tesla is part of the reason why the OEMs have had to either haste production
Yeah.
or step up and be like, all right, this is gonna be a thing now.
Yeah.
Because even Porsche with Taycan,
Yeah.
Taycan's nasty.
And you think what's is it Koenigsegg even has a
Yeah.
hybrid now?
Yep. Well, Ferrari has is it the FXX? That's gasoline and a hybrid, and then you've got
They all have one now.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Koenigsegg's got that variable variable valve timing that's actuated.
It's
I think-
camless.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
absolutely camless and actuated. Like people are doing
Free
crazy
valve.
things.
Yep. It's an interesting time to be in the gasoline hybrid
Flash
electric world.
electric world.
Yep.
I said we better get real good at tuning timing on brushless motors, Joe, because it's coming.
Tim Obas. They test the Mach-E here, but haven't seen a Bronco anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never seen either one.
Well, Paul saw the Mach-E at the auto show. I wish I would have known it was there because I would have gone and sat in it just to see what it's like.
I would have been plugging in an OBD2 port.
Wait a minute. Is it just going to be USB now? Because
Good
it'd be a universal type connection.
USB-C
Okay, okay.
3.0.
We got Randall Scott Hendricks, Ponies in the Smokies, as close as
Make
me.
it
Let's
happen.
make it happen.
I don't think we have any.
Well,
stake
you
there.
get with your friends, we'll get with our friends.
We'll do lunch.
We can be friends. Oh, we could do this every weekend. Greg Dudley, ETA for 3100 for 1517 Mustang GT. I do not have an ETA on that.
Sometime this year.
Yeah, probably this year. Jason Reefer. I'll go with Reefer because it's funnier to say. Sorry, man. My last name's good enough, so I have some.
No, it literally is good enough.
I have some room to stretch out here. I have a Gen 1 swap with an 18 intake and long tubes on the control pack tune. Am I leaving power on the table with the control pack tuned? Yeah, a decent amount. It ultimately depends on what fuel you're running with the control pack as to how much power you're leaving on the table.
Plus RPM limits.
Grant Twilly, I need a happy 3100. You actually do fit the criteria for a car that a 3100 would make sense
Yeah,
for.
see, now he understands.
Yeah, Grant understands. For those that don't know, Grant has the white 13 GT500 with the built sleeved L&M engine. I think he's 9.5 to 1 compression, 9.25 to 1 compression. Cams, E85, long tubes, all of it.
He just filled up a
And
checklist.
yeah, all the boxes are checked on that one. It's just not
Yeah.
a higher compression GT500 build because of what his goals were. We didn't want to go
Sad.
crazy with compression.
What if we pour some epoxy in each one of the cylinders?
could.
And it'll just kind of level
And being that
off?
it's a V, it'll shape the pistons like a VR6 piston.
Right.
It'll be perfect.
If you go back on the YouTube channel too, you can see his car.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
There's
Yeah,
quite a few
he's-
videos of
I'll
Grant's
say Grant's
car.
personality
It's a
report.
white striped Elite GT500. The only stripes on the car are the two like rocker panel
It looks
stripes.
kind of like Justin Young.
Probably
Mhm.
be a few years.
Speaking of Justin Young,
Yeah,
he
at
said,
least
"Hi,
a
guys.
couple years ago.
Hi, Justin. We'll see you at my
Yeah, hi, Justin Young.
Todd Warren's cams. Are you saying bigger isn't better? Only when it comes to stage cams.
Hey.
Watch him.
Need more stages for the cams, Todd.
Yes,
What?
we need more. I need a stage 7 cam from you, Todd. Watch the mushroom cloud right over there.
Yeah. Wait, that'd be east? Todd is like north.
Oh.
Isn't he like Ohio or something?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't want to insult him anymore. I already have with my stage 7 cams.
You're from Ohio, so you guys should be like best friends.
We
Matt Grimes, David Gore's GT500 Stage 3 video will go live this Friday.
Backstory on that.
This is Mustangs by Matt.
Because it's probably you haven't heard
Not
about
me.
I have
it. David Gore is a retired pilot. From
Mhm.
I think it was the Air Force he served in. He retired, became a pilot for one of the major airlines, and then was diagnosed with serious cancer.
Oh,
Matt
sad.
reached out to us. He's got a 13 or 14 GT500,
Mm-hmm.
and he was given a very short amount of time left if things didn't get better.
Mhm.
So when he reached out to us via social, Chuck and I got together and we put a stage 3 power pack on that car
Mm-hmm.
because he, in an interview, he spoke like the only thing he ever wanted to do to that car
Was go
like
fast.
our power pack,
Mm-hmm.
like our tune and pulley kit and all that stuff. So we sent one out there
Mm-hmm.
via Matt, and Matt did the install. And there's going to be a big video and
Interesting.
install and interview. And
Not me,
conversation
different
about
Matt.
it. Different Matt.
Nice.
A much nicer.
Other Matt.
I am anxious to see that one. I haven't seen any of the video on that one, but Brian is amazing. So
Yeah,
we'll
I'm
see
sure
how
the
that
kids will
goes.
shoot it over to us. Alberto Hernandez, thanks for the Roush TVS tune upgrade. Glad you're
No
liking
problem.
it. Matt Grimes, how's R&D going on the EcoBoost Mustang Supercharger?
God damn.
Should we put a 3.1 on a 2.3 EcoBoost?
God damn.
That'd be an eco boom of
I'm
the
gonna
year.
say you want the. First of all, we'll have to put a new hood on the car after the cylinder head goes through it.
He sent a message over referencing, I think it was Vortec that did the twin charge. setup.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think they
R&D
did
on that.
actually.
He's like, so what are you doing? And I was like, and he's like, what are you doing?
I
So
feel like.
he's just playing on that same inside joke of like, come on.
So did you guys read about that? That the fastest object known to man, their fastest man-made object was a manhole cover.
Yes, I read that.
So you read that too.
I read
so
that, dude. That was
that would
amazing.
make our VMP 3100 blower the fastest man-made object in history because
Yeah.
it would just right off the
I
top
forget
of
the
that.
backstory. It was like a bomb went off.
No, they were doing underground nuclear testing.
That's what it was.
And the first time they lost a manhole cover, it was in a 385-foot deep shaft or something. That they lit off a nuke at the bottom of it, and they had a manhole cover at the top of it. It wasn't a small manhole cover. It was pretty damn big.
Yeah, it's a full-size steel manhole cover, and
but
it did something ridiculous.
They couldn't find it after the explosion. So they decided that they're going to do it a second time, and this time they're going to put high-speed cameras there to see how fast it's going to try and estimate where the other one is. And then they did this second bomb test. They figured out that they estimated based on the frame rates and how quickly it disappeared that it was doing like 125,000 miles an hour. And that like it passed Pluto in like 1960.
I just like the part where somebody was like, "That was awesome. We're gonna do this again and actually make it scientific."
Yeah.
And then somebody sold that to a boss somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone went to a
science,
manager.
we gotta do this.
Right. Someone went to a manager.
We owe this to the people.
Or a higher up army colonel or something. Someone went to a higher up and said, "Yo, we have to do this."
And for clarity's sake, I didn't Snopes that or Snoops it or whatever
yeah.
it is. It was just a thing that came up on Facebook.
It was,
that
I don't know if
really
it's true or not. I just remember reading the article.
It'd be
and
really
laughing
cool if it
about
was true. It was good. Randall Scott Hendricks. I'm getting some R888Rs for the back of my GT500. Matt, can I do a second gear pull for my log instead of third? I hope you haven't forgotten about me. Quarantine, work, wedding.
R88s are fine. They're very loud tire. Be warned. They have a lot of road noise. Why I don't.
Especially the Rs. The R888s
they're
weren't too
so-
bad,
they
but
just
the Rs are
scream.
pretty loud.
A second gear is fine. It's
We
I
just need the car to hook up.
Yeah, I just need the car to not spin.
Yeah.
That's the only reason we tell people, because 90% of your cars will hook in third no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm fine with a second as long as it doesn't spin a whole lot.
And for what it's worth, third does give us, depending on the data logging rate, third does give us more data points, and it makes it a bit less of a transient. So
Yeah.
if you need to do it in second because you're afraid of speeding and getting pulled over, I mean, second gear in that GT500, I don't know if it's 13, 14 or what, but second gear is still probably going to be capable of giving you a ticket in most speed limit areas, for whatever that's worth. So I don't think you're in much worse shape in third.
You're fine.
Jason Bell. What's up, guys? 2014 5.0 motor Fox body Coyote swap,
Nice.
10.1 to 1 compression. No! And 5 over. VMP V2 blower.
1,000 pound injector.
Oh my, that's a lot.
Oh wow. No, I obviously meant 1,000 cc, but
Yeah. What 6R80 should I go with, or does it matter? Thanks, Jay. So I would do a built 6R80, depending on how much boost you're looking at running with the Fox body.
Yeah, I would say a stock one's good to 750, 800.
Yeah, but being that you're putting a built motor in and it's in a Fox body, I anticipate that you're going to be turning it up a decent amount. I'd say the only thing I don't like in your setup is that you went 10 to 1. I don't know why you did that or who told you to do that. The only time I'd go 10 to 1 is if I'm looking to do crazy boost on low octane fuel.
Yeah.
If it was me building the car, I would have left it with a stock compression setup. But I guess it really depends on the conversation you and your builder had and whether he was familiar with what you need to do or should do with Coyotes.
Any updates on 7 to 14 GT500, 3100 blowers? Not yet.
We're currently running into that cycle of getting the same questions.
Yep. I'm seeing that.
I'm going to start skipping. If I have answered your question, do not be offended. I'm going to skip it. No current ETA on it as far as updates go. We've done some testing on it. It makes good power. It is out of the spectrum of what 99% of people need to be worried about running on their car. And I'll leave it at that. Ian Guthrie Is it possible to add a trans cooler with a heat exchanger to the MT82, or should I buy a real transmission and get a cooler for it, i.e. T56? I'm in a 17 GT. So if I was in your shoes, I would pick up a TR6060 from a Performance Pack 1112 or Performance Pack 1314 GT500 that has a transcooler factory. Because then your transmission cooler pump is already built into the trans, and you don't have to run an external pump setup or anything
Correct.
like that.
But
that'd
you
just be much
can run an
easier.
external cooler on MT82 if you would like to.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to do an inline oil, like a TurboWorks oil scavenge pump
Mm-hmm.
would work. And you would want to, a lot of people will use the drain hole on the back as the feed
And
for
then
the
fill
pump,
plug.
run it through the cooler, and then put it back in the front.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my only concern would be fluid aeration if you hit the wrong thing with the fluid stream.
It depends. So like a lot of the old mile guys on the T56s used to do that on purpose because your fifth and
Your
sixth gear
first
get
cooling on the gear.
Yeah, there on the T56's fifth and sixth was that the little shaft, and it didn't see any oil because all the oil would run to the back. So on the Viper guys and stuff, they were doing mile pulls would burn them up constantly. So someone figured out that you can take the fluid from the back, run it through a cooler, and then you would spray. They actually would put a nozzle, and you would spray cooled down transmission oil on fifth and sixth gear directly in the transmission, and that would keep them alive. So same concept. You can do that certainly, but what Joe's saying is if you buy that transmission, it's already built in.
Yeah,
It's a hell of a lot easier.
and it's designed by an OEM to do that. So chances are it's going to do it at least decent. David Smith, how much horsepower will low key kit make on a 2019 F-150 with stock 5.0 pump gas?
About tree fitted.
Yeah, tree fitting. No, good old Loch Ness Monster. That South Park reference for those that don't know. It's a great show. I
You should
recommend
know.
it.
If you don't know, you should.
Yeah, you should know. As far as horsepower goes on pump gas, if you had a truck on our dyno on 93 octane, chances are it'd make in the neighborhood of 550 to 620 wheel.
Yep. Facts.
Yeah, it really depends on how it likes timing and how it takes timing as to how much power it makes. Todd Warren cams.
Reference to your. Oh yeah, this was in reference to your 3-1 blower discussion.
What was Todd's?
Oh, because he said you're saying bigger isn't always better. No, that is absolutely
yeah.
the case. Bigger is not always better on blowers.
To me, sized properly for the application means more than bigger, or just throwing bigger at it.
That's what she said.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
I'm gonna let the camera sit at you awkwardly for just a second.
Yeah, just
you go ahead and
pause.
give that the awkward sit.
Yeah. Like if you have to clear a hallway, you probably don't want to use a shovel. You probably want to use a bulldozer. But
It's not her fault, okay?
Tommy P. I'm sorry, dude. Porpoise. That's
Porpoise?
what I'll go with. No, because there's no R. It's a U. Puppis. We'll go
Tommy
puppis.
Dolphin. Sorry.
Also, do you think a 3100 will flow enough for 1300 wheel horsepower in a GT500 with all the supporting mods? Depending on the compression of the engine, I do.
Yes.
So how much power it makes question depends on the efficiency of the setup.
It definitely has the potential.
If you had a GT500 with stock cams, rods, pistons, stock compression, I don't know that you could make that happen. If you had a GT500 that's 10.5 to 11 to 1 and 10.5 to 11 to 1, you have a really good set of cams in it. You're spinning it to a decent RPM. I don't see why a 3100 would not make 1300, but it's just a matter of having the right configuration of parts to do that at the end of the day.
See.
Max Andreev, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
All right, we're jumping back over to YouTube.
The tubes of you.
And again, if I see a question that looks like I've answered before, I'm just going to skip over it. Sorry, not sorry.
Take it very
And
offensively.
we're not answering every question. We're just kind of answering the stuff that catches our eye. So
I like interesting questions. We did most of those. Or do they go up to the top? Yeah.
I don't know how it's
You wanna
sorted.
grab a
Well,
couple?
that's
Those are all
the
the old ones. You
beginning.
gotta go down.
Yeah.
And because the last
We
one we
have
read,
what?
this is the last one we read from here. So anything down.
Okay, so I'll just.
Oh, I'm sorry,
highlight
that one. We did the charismatic.
Yeah, we did that one. And all right, 13 Roush Stage 3 Phase 1 6R80. Would a 82 millimeter be safe with 93 in octane boost? Would like to see mid 10s. So
It's a bit small on a stock motor.
the Phase 1 6R80 it should have a closed air box factory. I don't know if you have a different cold air on it.
Yeah.
You could actually run a 79 or a 75 on 93, especially if you run an octane booster like Torco or Boostane. And mid 10s, depends on the DA when you're out at the track. There's going to be a lot of asterisks here. Depends on how the DA is at the track, depends on how your car hooks up, how it leaves, and how you're managing IATs if they are going up. But I can tell you that on that blower, 1050s are possible. I just don't think you're going to get there with an 82, especially if it's a closed air box still, especially if it's on a twin 60, and especially if you're at any sort of elevation or it's super hot outside. That's kind of, that'd be like if all the stars aligned,
Yeah.
like a mid-10s car.
Yeah.
Uh,
Probably Demon Dimitri, would it be worth changing the intercooler core on a Gen 3 kit pushing over 800 horsepower? And
I'd say if you were over 1,000 wheel, I'd say it'd be worth swapping out the intercooler core, specifically
Yeah.
to Daniel Dimitri's case,
800's fine.
because he's got a Gen 2 Coyote manual over 800 wheel. For what how you're driving the car, I don't think an intercooler would really benefit you too terribly much. He's, I'd say, like a semi-daily type thing where he drives it to have fun, doesn't currently track the car a lot. I wouldn't say that a different intercooler core would benefit you a tremendous amount right now. And then we got Y.
Let's see, 19 RS3, are you tuning 2020 Explorer STs? Yes, I can do that. But then he says, is there any truth that HP Tuners is banging up shops? I don't know what he means by that.
Yeah, I don't have any
to do
idea
with
about that.
Engage stuff. I think it's a misunderstanding of
Yeah,
because Engage is going away.
Yeah, I would say Engage is going away, but it has absolutely nothing to do with HP Tuners. HP Tuners does not own Engage, has nothing to do with Engage whatsoever. That was just a delivery device.
Yeah, they just made it possible for that device to flash vehicles using their
So
software.
maybe he meant closing up shop, and in which case HP Tuners is not closing, absolutely not, in any way, shape, or form. eMotion is closing, who is the
Yeah.
maker of the Engage. HP
Yeah, and
Tuners
that's
will-
just from what I heard. I
yeah,
haven't
HP
heard it
Tuners will keep
directly
right
from
on
them.
trucking. There's no issues there.
Yeah. And then the Germa is free valve 3-cylinder with 1100 horsepower electric
That's
system.
the
Pretty neat
Koenigsegg
design.
that
Yeah.
we were talking about.
And we got Mike Story. Damn, haven't heard your name in a while, Mike. With y'all, the cars and trucks y'all done, you should have a track day once a month.
We probably could.
That's a lot to chew though,
Yeah, it is.
because
That's
we
the problem.
already have like our daily workload. It's not like we have an abundance of time sitting on our hands wondering what we should do with our free time. It's maybe like a once a month type of thing if we ever start that up, but I don't think we could support that every week.
It'd be rough.
Yeah. You guys would have to start paying a lot more for tuning. Because there's definitely not enough camera people for that.
That's why we have Brian.
So that's Mike's question. And that was, okay, so you asked the Explorer STs.
Yep.
All right, we have Tico, only because it's interesting. Make a system for 2020 Toyota Tundra. We only have one choice, and the manufacturer is slow on sales. It would be nice to have 500 horsepower plus. I don't know what those things do with a blower. I don't know. I imagine that Magnuson makes a blower
I think
for
they're
it.
talking about Magnuson.
Yeah, and we can get you Magnuson anything that you'd ever want.
We lost
And
the
we
camera,
got-
so lean over a little bit to the right. Or to your left. There
All
you
right, all right.
go.
All
There
right.
you go. I can see you.
I'm looking at your screen. I'm waiting for it, but
It's coming down.
I'll just keep.
Where'd
on
your
keeping on.
camera go, Brian?
The battery. Oh, are we been doing this for an hour now?
We're 305 right now.
Okay. All right, we'll
Alright,
do
we're good.
we'll do a few more questions, then we'll keep on keeping on. Oh man, best gear for 15 GT Auto, 8th mile stock.
Yeah.
Dennis Hoffman, the Roush Supercharger with 10 speed. Should I keep that or different setup? I'm wanting around 900 horsepower out of my 2020.
Put a note in on it.
Yeah, put an Odin on it.
The Roush will, I dare say, never make that.
Yeah, if it makes that, it's on C16 and IATs are 250.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can use the blower as a headlight.
Yeah,
from
exactly.
it glowing. So no, you put an
Put
Odin
it
on.
off the written as well.
Yeah, put an Odin on it. If you're gonna try to make 900, put an Odin on it.
Yeah. Sorry, Roush. Design your blower better. 2008 GT500 cold air and catback, 93 octane. With your tune, what would the horsepower increase? So we're talking about
Sorry,
cold air
93.
catback, stock pulley, probably 40 horsepower, 30, 40 horsepower on 93.
No, the catback, I bet it's probably a little bit more.
I mean, it's potentially a little bit more, but I'm not throwing best case numbers at people.
No, that's true. They only came with like 12 degrees of timing.
Yeah, stupid stuff. They had to keep them safe for 87 because, people are dumb.
Yeah, it is very true.
Travis Shot, whether NA or boosted with something like a Procharger ported intake manifold will make a difference, especially if you're trying to. All right, I ain't got that
Okay.
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, make over 500 wheel horsepower.
Ah, okay.
Just lost the other one. Oh, the batteries are dying, boys.
Now I'm beautiful. I'm the only Juan. Mike Story, I need vehicles to be classic. So Mike Story has a 18 or 19 F-150 with a Odin Supercharger on it. 19.
Yeah.
Yeah, brandy new. And we have Marco Balla 92 Whipple 3.4 VMP Gen 3R. I don't know what application you're referring to, or what your goal is with that
See.
application. Mike Story's truck's a 2020.
Oh,
We got
brand new.
yeah, brand new. All right, we're hopping back over to Facebook for one last check.
One last round.
And if we don't like what we see, we're just gonna be gone.
We got fresh batteries, kids.
All right, let's go full screen again so it actually does something. It did the wrong
God damn, do I need a haircut?
thing. Looking.
Shaggy. I was gonna get one last week, but it's just been busy. Need to refine my
I don't
house.
It's
see
about a
that
good
anymore.
time if you guys figure it's a stopping point. We can go ahead and call it for the day.
Okay.
For an hour.
That would make us
Okay.
quitters, and we're not quitters.
I'm quitting.
What's this look like?
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of it for the day, guys. We'll call it here. If you guys have anything you want us to do differently with the show, other than like get batteries that last longer,
Yeah, that would.
That's all, we were running tests before the show, that's definitely on that.
oh, it's all good.
Those were fresh.
We have a
Just keeping the people
we
on
have
their
a
toes.
suggestion box.
hmm
You can put it in a piece of or write on a piece of paper your suggestions and put it in the suggestion box.
Yeah.
We should get one, by the way.
Keep in mind
We
for
should get
next
an
show,
actual
3
suggestion
ones
box.
when you're doing big boy stuff.
Yes.
265 is for everybody else.
Correct.
2 3s are cool too. Wait a second, we got one more question.
Oh, what you got there?
We got Stephanie Brooks. How much will it take to make my husband's Mustang go fast?
That's a loaded
Less
question.
than you may anticipate. Because I have a supercharger from that family on the back of the car.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah. Her husband's Austin.
I figured that was an insider.
Yeah, it's insider. Yeah. It won't take much. You'll be very happy with the results, Stephanie.
Well, hell,
But
sounds like Joe's gonna give it to you for free.
we'll stop it there. That ain't happening. But yeah, I guess catch us next time, guys. We doing this. We decide if this is going to be a weekly thing yet.
Wednesdays.
All right, so Wednesdays from now on, you may not see the same two faces every time. It's not Tuning Tuesday. It's just VMP Live. So whoever we want to be on the show from VMP is just going to be live.
If Mike does it, it can be Weed and Wednesdays.
It'll be perfect. Michael love it. Whee! Exactly. But with that, have a good day, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the show.
Bye.
Let us know if you
Enjoy.
want us to change something.